lake monsters.
Okay.
Welcome. Wow, it says live and it's recording. Okay,
Live and recording.
I
Nice.
guess so. I guess we're learning something new every day with this thing. Um,
Seems that
but I figured since we have no guest, I figured we'd start off by talking because I found out I didn't know that there was 13 of them, but we have 13 lake monsters here in Wisconsin, supposedly. Now, I beg to differ with that list because I think there's only 12, because one of them, and we'll get to that, one of them I believe is a misidentification. So
could very well be.
I'm going to share the screen here and see if I can do this. A little different. Here we go. Oops. How did I do that before? Okay. The first one is a Rock Lake Terror, is what it's called, Rocky. Okay. Now that's in Rock Lake. Now we've been close. This is also the same lake that's got those pyramids underwater. Okay. But there's also Asylum State Park, which we've been there and had some.
Which isn't too far away from them.
Right. So they said this one's most well known. And, and I never heard of it, so I don't know how well known this one can be. But anyway, Lake Mills is said to consider. All right, here they say the pyramids and an ancient necropolis with connections to Atlantis. It's also home to an aggressive serpent that's been terrorizing residents since it was first spotted in 1869. Hissing at observers from the shadows, one man claimed to have hooked it with his fishing line and then got dragged half a mile across the lake before the line broke. In 18,
that's a lie. But anyway.
in 1882, two men racing their rowboats across Rock Lake were headed towards what they believed to be a submerged sandbar, and suddenly the sandbar reared a large snake-like head out of the water and opened its fierce jaws. Panicked, the men began yelling for onlookers on shore to bring a gun. A couple of them grabbed a boat and started rowing out to help, but Rocky retreated into the depths and vanished. Now, I don't know how big Rock Lake is, except that I know it is big enough to hide some pyramids. Where they're fully submerged underwater. But I've never heard of that one, and I've lived here in Wisconsin all my life. Okay. So
yeah, and I'm a transplant to Wisconsin.
But, I've never heard of that. I mean, some of these I've heard of, but that one, not so well known. Now, this one is Red Cedar Lake Ripley Monster.
Hang on a second. All right.
And it said around the same time that Rocky was causing ruckus in Rock Lake, another monster was mutilating livestock and scaring away resort visitors nearby in Red Cedar Lake and Lake Ripley. Both lakes were said to be connected by an underground channel, which the monster used to move between them. For a week in 1891, the monster stalked the shores of Red Cedar Lake, dragging away animals from nearby farms. Their half eaten remains would wash ashore later. The creature later emerged in Lake Ripley, where the
over
sightings
in
were
Cambria.
still being reported into the 1970s and 80s. Eyewitness described it as having a large dinosaur-like head and a thick snake body with buggy eyes and a greenish-brown flesh.
Salamander. Giant salamander. Lake Ripley's over by Cambridge. The township of Cambridge kind of surrounds Lake Ripley.
Well, Red Cedar Lake
Highway
can't
12
be.
goes Highway 12 goes right between Lake Ripley and Red Cedar Lake.
They say there's an underground channel. Now, I don't know because, I don't know about these two. Another one I never really heard of. Now we got the Rock River Monster.
All right, so you got Rock Lake, Ripley, Lake Ripley, which are not that far away from each other,
Right.
and the Rock River Monster, huh?
And yeah, and don't forget Red Cedar Lake.
Well, Red Cedar Lake's right there with Lake Ripley. It's
Okay.
Cambridge.
All right. So you got Rock Creek Lake or River, and it says legends tell of one
Rock
more,
River Lake.
or no, it's Rock River Monsters, and it's actually Rock Creek. It's actually a creek.
Well, Rock River is actually a river.
It's not even. Anyway, they used to navigate the waters of the Rock River in Jefferson County, not far from all three previously mentioned lakes. These creatures would grab anything that got close to the shore for a drink, dragging it under to never be seen again. It's said that Native Americans feared these beasts and made frequent offerings of tobaccos and other goods. Now, see, I never heard of this one either.
Nor have I.
Now, I've heard of this one.
Well, Rock River comes through Watertown, down through Jefferson, down through Johnson Creek, through Fort Atkinson, and on the other side of Fort Atkinson, it drops out into Lake Koshkonong, which is an extremely shallow lake, and then that continues out through Newville, south of Edgerton, back down, and then eventually winds back up and around and splits Janesville down the middle. And that also goes down into Beloit, splits Beloit down the middle,
Oh,
and keeps going and goes down through.
The Rock River goes all the way to the Mississippi.
thank you, Peanut Gallery.
Rockford. It goes through Rockford, splits it through the middle, keeps going and going and going, and that's down now. It's down in Illinois, and it keeps going until it. There's Dixon. I'm not sure what that town is. But yeah, it eventually connects to the Mississippi, and it looks like it connects down and around the quads.
Oh, now we got Lake Koshkonong.
Kashkanong.
Yeah, there we go.
That's the one that I said that the rock empties into. Just
Yep,
south of
the
Fort
Rock
Atkinson.
River flows through
Mm-hmm.
a 10,000 plus acre lake in Dane County with a maximum depth of 7 feet.
Yep.
It's unlikely anything large could live there, but there have been 6 sightings of a lake monster in those waters, and one of them even made a local paper in 1887. Now, is this the same one? Are you looking at a map of Wisconsin? Could you tell me if this is the same one? Because it runs in Dane County. That sits there.
Kashkanong.
Yeah.
Lake Kashkanong is just south of Fort Atkinson.
Actually, it does. It goes all the way down to Edgerton.
Yeah,
Okay.
it comes out in Newville.
Okay. So this is a different lake. But anyway, there's all those state parks along lakes, and there's one in Oregon. There's a state park in Oregon. I
You're
can't.
thinking Lake Kaganza.
Goodland Park, and you could walk all the way across that lake at this one point, and the water never got above chest
Or
high.
Wabisa.
You know.
No, it's not Kaganza. Kaganza is the one outside of Stoughton,
Well,
and you
look
got
for
Wabisa.
Goodland Park. It sat
It's
on.
not that.
It's whatever Goodland Park sat on.
Yeah,
It's
where's Goodland Park? That would be.
it's off Highway 14 between Madison and Oregon.
Uh, uh, South Highway 14.
Yeah, between Madison and Oregon. Old 14.
Yeah, Goodland Park is on the edge of Lake Wabisa.
Okay. But anyway, that's another one of those that's not so deep or you've got a lot of shallow areas.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So two duck hunters rowing along the northeastern part of the lake when
Which
they
lake are we at?
huh?
Which lake are we at?
We're at this one right here still.
Kashkanong?
Yep.
Okay.
We're not finished with this one. So, two duck
Yeah.
hunters rowing along the northeastern part of the lake when they spotted something in the water about 150 feet away towards the center of the lake. It was moving with its head about 2 feet above water, with 10 feet of its thick, roughly 8-inch trunk visible above the water. It left a long wake, which the men used to estimate the creature's total length at 30 to 40 feet. They began rolling towards it to get a better look, but it dipped under the water and never resurfaced.
Interesting.
Yo, 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 yo. How you doing, Tom? Hey, you want to join us? We're talking about all the lake monsters. I can send you a link, I think, still.
I think you should be able to.
So so I don't know how that one could even be possible if all right, they said this thing is like 30 to 40 feet, right?
Yeah.
And but the maximum depth of the lake is 7 feet.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would work out because you'd think, whoops, we'll have to stop that for a second. You would think that,
There might be caverns in it.
yeah, but still, for it to be 30 to 40 feet long, it would have to have a pretty big girth, right? Maybe.
Mhm.
I just don't know how that's possible. Okay, I'll get back to seeing if I can share this again where we left off. There we go. Now this one, you and I actually went looking for.
One in Madison.
This one is Lake Mendota, and it's Bozo. Not spelt the same way as the clown, by the way.
Mm.
Now, after thinking about this lake and everything I know about this lake and living in Madison all my life, pretty much, I don't know if this one is actually exists or if it's just misidentification. Okay.
I think a lot of them are misidentifications.
Well, this one's a good possibility, I think. But I'll get to seeing what it says. It says, while some lake monsters are terrifying, menacing creatures, Bozo is more like a puppy dog, a large serpent with a snake or dragon like head. Bozo is known for chasing after boats, playfully tipping over canoes, and tickling the feet of sunbathers around the University Bay and Picnic Point. Right where we were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're right in that area, University Bay and Picnic Point, and no. Anyway, when he showed it to one of his professors, a man from New England said to be acquainted with the species, positively identified it as the scale of a large sea serpent. So somebody discovered a large thick. It all began when a UW student discovered what appeared to be a large, thick fish scale on the shore of Picnic Point. We didn't find anything on the shores of Picnic Point.
We weren't actually at Picnic Point.
But still, we were on the shoreline of that area several times. But he identified it as a scale of a large sea serpent, but he didn't say what the species was, right?
Right.
Now, sightings began to increase, and witnesses came forward confirming seeing Bozo prior to 1917 as well. But eventually, sightings stopped, leading people to believe Bozo had left Lake Mendota by way of the Yahara River. A few years later, people began to see something in nearby Lake Wabisa, which attributed to the return of Bozo. Now, the way they've described this and stuff, because I'm not too sure, because I was never a fisherman, but lake sturgeon can get pretty big. They look very
Yes, they can.
prehistoric. They're actually considered like a prehistoric fish.
Yes,
And
they are.
and can't they don't they live for quite a while?
Yes, they do. They can live for hundreds of years. Because yes, they are a prehistoric fish.
So here's what I'm getting at. So because we've got another one coming up, you can see down there at the bottom it says Lake Monona, but Lake Mendota, Lake Monona, uh, and the lake over there by between McFarland and Madison and all of that, they're all connected. Monona Bay, you know, they're all connected
Mm-hmm.
by the Yahara River. Okay, because we used to cruise the lakes on the boats, and you could go through all those lakes. I mean, we'd start out in McFarland. We'd dock the boat out there. Dad would dock the boat sometimes when he moved. Dock the boat in McFarland. We'd start out there at what was that? Christie's on the Lake in McFarland, in that McFarland area.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd end up all the way out there to some place out in Lake Mendota somewheres. And we go through and you go through by Tenney Park and everything. So I think myself, it's just an oversized or very large sturgeon.
Yes, it could be.
Oops. So now we got before Bozo. Now, like I said, Lake Monona and Mendota, they connect via the Yahara River.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, over by Tenney Park and Sherman Avenue, you can go through the channel there, right? So you get out there, you got Lake Monona and Monona Bay. And they said before Bozo, Lake Monona was the place to go for a lake monster encounter. A 20-foot long serpent was known to show up in Lake Monona every summer in the 1890s. This one was even blamed for eating someone's dog in June of 1897. That year, a local newspaper headline noted that the serpent had arrived 2 months earlier than usual that season. Years later, the lake was being dredged offshore of Obrick Park when something clogged the sandpipe. It was said to be several huge vertebrae belonging to the skeleton of the serpent.
Well, could happen.
I never remember. Well, I mean, it's an old story, but I never heard that story. But I did hear something about Lake Mendota and something eating somebody's dog once as a kid. And you chalk that up as like one of those, oh, your dad's just trying to scare you or something like that
Mm-hmm.
and they're telling because he used to tell us about uh, oh, come on, what's that drive-through place where you drive through from one side to the other, from like the south side to the west side, the forest,
The Arboretum.
the arboretum. He used to talk about the arboretum and tell stories about the arboretum about some deranged lunatic out there killing people or or uh, how the whole thing was haunted or something like that, and he'd try to scare the hell out of you by you know slowing down the car or even slower and rolling down your window and stuff because those
Right.
cars with the electric windows in them. But I'm I I did go fishing a lot with my dad. I mean, I didn't fish myself, but I mean, when we were out on the lake in the boats or
Yeah,
sitting
you only went because you
sitting
could
on
be
the
right on the boat.
shoreline somewheres, I was paying attention, and I never really saw anything but the giant carp jumping out of the water in Lake Monona. You know, I mean, you, I don't buy it. Some of it. Oh, there you go. I,
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Tom.
What's up?
I've been
Just
feeling like
killing
shit.
time before I got to
Didn't
get
feel like
ready.
shit all day, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you don't look it, I swear.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know I don't look like a turtle
uh,
Nah,
sitting there, but
and
I'm just fucking with you.
we never saw anything at Oberk Park either because that's the place that when we went to the La Follette, that's the place everybody hung out in the summertime at night.
Winnebago monster?
Was out at Oberk Park.
Or is that
Now,
yeah,
pronounced Winnebago?
yeah, we
we're
were
banged up.
done with this one, Lake
Winnebago?
Monona.
Yeah.
So it was like a monster that you could like sleep inside, and it had a bathroom and stuff, maybe a shower.
Who knows?
You hook it up to the sewer lines and get some electric going. These are the jokes, folks.
Yeah, not very good ones.
Not well. Listen,
I already said this first already, but I've been feeling like crap all day, so just kind of look over me a little bit. I don't have reactions.
So Lake Winnebago is the other one, and and no one's quite sure what this thing is. Well, no one's quite sure what any of them are.
it's an RV.
Uh, Maybe it's a giant snake.
We actually have, yeah, we
Hey,
actually have a lake
Maybe they're seeing
photo.
reflections off of the pyramids in Rock Lake. Whoops.
yeah,
That
that's a
goes back.
long
That
reflection,
goes
but
back to the first ones.
that's a
Um,
long reflection. It's
but now, see, I was saying this in a lot of them: lake monster or massive sturgeon. I said that when we were talking about bozo because that's what I think bozo is in
Bozo.
Lake Mendota.
Bozo the clown.
Not spelled the same way. Pretty close. We went looking for Bozo and Lake Mendota 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that.
No,
See, you had to have scuba gear. You'd have found
Well, no, we were just out by the shoreline. You could get real close
it.
to the shorelines. We did a little filming out there, but we didn't see nothing.
Well, that's the problem. You had a camera. If you didn't have a camera, you would have all saw it, and nobody would believe you.
Yeah, nobody believed us.
exactly.
That's the way all that
Isn't
stuff
that,
has
I was going to
happened.
say, isn't that how it usually happens?
Yep, like even paranormal stuff and everything. Like it all happens when nobody has any way to prove it.
Well,
It's
that's how something happened to us at what was that, the Arts Mill in Grafton. Tom and I
Yeah.
were, well, not a different Tom.
I was gonna
Tom,
say, wow.
Tom and I were walking out to have a smoke. I had no cameras, nothing with me. You have three light bulbs on the side of this brick wall. They're all connected to the same circuit. So if you turn the light switch on, all three of them would go on at the same time. Light switch located at both ends of the hallway. So we were walking down the hallway. The lights were off. We walked down the hallway, and all of a sudden, the middle light bulb flickered at us.
Hmm.
And the other two didn't come on. And it's like, I'll be damned. I didn't have a camera or anything. It was just Tom and I's word, you know, to tell everybody else because everybody else was on the third floor.
Now,
One light out of three in a series circuit link.
now here's the key on that. Okay, they were stoned.
Well, and the bulb could have been going too. Maybe it wasn't completely gone yet. I mean, there's all sorts of, I've learned from, I have a friend of mine who is known in the paranormal community, Kenny Biddle, for being
I
quite
heard
the
that name.
skeptic. Yeah,
I've heard that name.
he's very much. In fact, he now works for a magazine about skepticism in New York, but which was his dream job, and he got it.
Yeah.
But like he used to be an investigator, and then something just clicked in him one day where he's like, you know what, this could be explained easily, and then he just went off on it for a long time. So I've adopted a lot of his stuff, even though there's part of me that still wants to believe in the paranormal and cryptids and stuff like that.
Well, a lot of things
So,
happened to us in that arts mill that we couldn't explain, you know. And we tried. I mean, I was so caught up on what happened in that hallway that I was trying to get it to do it again. You
come
know,
on, do it again, man.
I was like hitting the wall and fucking with the light switches, on off, and see if there was like some leftover residue energy that made it the one bulb flicker or something. Oh,
That's the one move with the Karate
but
Kid they never showed. Light
I
on, light off.
I learned after that I went out and bought a body cam so that I've always, when I'm on an investigation on places like that, I'm always recording. You know,
Yeah, because you never know.
you never know when it'll happen. Well, we
But
had
it's
a lot
always when
more.
you don't have a camera.
We had a lot more happen then, but
Yeah,
anyway,
well, we don't talk about that because that was just between me and Tom.
um, well, there was like what, 2 teams, 3 teams there, kind of,
Kind of. We'd break off into the teams we wanted to be in.
because there was Chris and his wife. Well, Off the Rails wasn't really a team; they just got us in there.
Yeah.
And they were so Tom and Molly were just there for the hell of
Is
it.
his name actually Tom Malley?
No,
Did you?
No.
Is that what you said?
no,
No.
Tom and Molly.
Oh, I thought you said Tom Malley. I'm like, get out of here.
No,
No,
his better
wife's name
half,
is, yeah, his wife's name is Molly.
Molly.
Wow. Well, it's still close.
I can't even remember his last name.
Mine's Tom Nally, so it's.
Wasn't it Klein?
Yeah, that's it, Tom Klein. From Off the Rails. But anyway, we got the Lake Winnebago monster. No one's quite sure what this thing is, lake monster or massive sturgeon. The legend of the Lake Winnebago monster seems to originate from Native American legend of a massive creature that lived in the lake, consuming deer and elk that get too close. In the book Blue Men and River Monster: Folklore of the North, author John Zim writes, these deer it bore beneath the water, devoured horns and all. Native Americans are said to have been too scared to cross the lake or any of the rivers because the monster would hunt them. After sighting off point in Neenah, that's not too far away from here. Where's Neenah, Wisconsin?
Nina's up by Oshkosh.
Oh, I guess it is a little way.
Gosh.
A local newspaper headline trying to claim the monster as the Neenah sea serpent. This menacing creature is said to often lurk at the mouth of the Fox River waiting for its meals, and some tales even claim it had babies that still roam the waters of Lake Winnebago today. Now, I never heard of that one either.
No.
Now,
Never heard of that.
this one I believe is tied to the other one.
Well, that must be awkward trying to
That's
get around when you're tied together.
well,
Mhm.
because it's all on. And well,
That was.
there's one that's called Peppy. in Lake Pepin, and Lake Pepin is one of the 4 lakes on
It's one
Mississippi
of the lakes
River.
from the Mississippi.
All right. So early settlers of La Crosse had to contend with a poisonous serpent that lived in the Mississippi River. The beast vanished for a while and then made a comeback in 1901 when a La Crosse newspaper reported that a group picnicking on the shore of the on the shore
You said it like Yogi Bear.
Hey,
on
Picnicking.
the
boo-boo,
shore of the river.
let's go get us a picnic at basket.
Fuck the ranger, boob.
Oh, fuck are you?
But Yogi, you know what Ranger Rick said. Uh, sorry, that just kind of tickled me. Picnicking.
They discovered it wrapped around a log on the beach. As they approached, the serpent made a hissing sound like escaping steam and then slithered back into the river. That sounds like some kind of fucking snake to me.
I was I was genuinely curious when I looked in the backstage because, as we mentioned, you can see everybody can see the backstage because it was just a black screen and it said Nessie. I'm like, so would you open up another screen?
Yep.
Nope, that's Nessie Santacero, Santa Dom.
What's up? I can see everybody's using EV Mux, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like it better. I haven't got it quite set up for Mark yet. We ran into a complication or two, but that's neither here nor there. This is the one you missed out, Mark, twice. Twice.
I missed out.
You missed
I was
out
going with
twice.
Pepin. Nah.
This one I've been trying for a long time because this one I heard stories of. This was Lake Pepin, or Pepe is the lake monster. And like I said, this one's Lake Pepin sits on the Mississippi River. It's the largest of the 4 lakes in our region.
She touched my peppy, Steve.
Yeah, multiplicity.
Yeah, good catch.
Michael Keaton.
She touched my peppy, Steve. I like pizza.
Anyway, there used to be a guy. He was a riverboat captain for 17 years, and I tried. We missed out, but he sold his boat last summer because last summer. He sold his boat, so the paddle boat's now in Florida or whatever. He retired, but anyway, I went out and interviewed this guy. Had a great conversation, and he gave tours of Lake Pepin and this, like Mississippi River paddle boat. I didn't get a chance to go on one of those tours, but I sat there and talked to this guy and interviewed him, and I've got the interview somewheres. But he he basically claims that he's seen bull sharks along the Mississippi and Lake Pepin area, and all kinds of things that, and of course he's gets a lot of people from his tour saying, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" That a lot of things that they couldn't explain.
That was a log. Sorry, guys.
So he was out there, and he's like he's seen it a few times and believes that there's something out there. And I'm like, well, is it possible that it's lake sturgeon? He says, no, I've seen those. It's not a lake sturgeon. He says, I see those often. But, I mean, the guy's been on that river and that lake for 17 years as a captain of the paddle boat that he owned.
So I'm new to
Giving
this show.
tours.
Oh,
I mean, he was a pretty reputable person to
Yeah,
be
you are.
talking to.
I'm new to this show too,
Hey,
though.
Joe,
By the
I'm
way,
new to this show, is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm new to this show too.
Hello
I'm not new
again.
to hanging out with these
Nice
guys, but
seeing you. I'm assuming this show is about lake monsters and paranormal in general.
Yep. Well,
It
today it's about lake monsters because we had
is. We had no
Well,
guess.
no guest, I guess.
no, this is a pretty good
well, now
show,
you
and
got two.
I got into some arguments today, pretty good ones actually, because how I express my feelings about this shit anymore. This is rated R, right?
Yeah. We don't censor our show.
Good, good. This is probably going to BB3 as well, isn't it?
No,
Oh, doesn't matter. I'll
no,
share it.
because you don't have that option with
You
this.
don't
Yeah.
have that option in here yet.
Yeah, it's only in StreamYard you get to do
I
that.
Well,
suppose I could make it
Well,
go
I'm
to
gonna quit paying
BB3.
for it then because I'm gonna go back to StreamYard if I'm not fucking getting the bang for my buck.
Well, everything else makes it worth it, really.
But with this horse shit, like as far as lake monsters, you know, I believe there's a shit ton of lake monsters. There's a lot of fucking fish in the sea as far as
Okay.
like, the alien life, the glowing fish that we haven't seen and all that bullshit. Um, I think there's only one lake monster, and that possibly is Nessie, is what I said, and I don't even believe in that no more. But I believe legends tell its tale. I believe pirates saw their shit, and I believe in things like that. Existence, non-existence, megalodons, all that. There's evidence of all that shit. Somehow, every cell phone is blurry when you go to catch something. Somehow, you know, the dead man tells no tales at the chest. As far as like we seen sea monsters. I think it's all horseshit
Has
because
there
you have
even been
satellites.
any sightings of Nessie in recent
I
years?
don't
I
believe
haven't
so. I
heard
think it's an all
anything.
forgotten tale. I think if you want to find things and people want to spend money on all that shit, especially like nowadays when you want to find, things in the world, everybody puts their own, their money in and all these fucking sites where you could, the submarine that just exploded or whatever it was, with like guys with an
Oh,
Xbox
that
controller going to
the
the sea to
homemade
go find
submarine.
the
Yeah.
Titanic. Why don't they just put out if you want to prove everything in the world, put out 20 submarines, 21 way, actually 40, 21 way, 20
Well,
another way in Loch Ness. Go find them. All
You
the
don't even need
satellites
them to be
around.
manned. You could do like
Mm-hmm.
little tiny
Joe,
submersibles.
switch
well,
us. Switch it real quick.
as soon as as more as technology advances, okay, they're gonna they're gonna be able to um, do even greater things. Like they did a thing where they
What,
dredged or
get an
whatever.
actual footage of Bigfoot with a clear
No,
picture?
they dredged like Loch Ness and they did like a DNA sample and stuff. And basically, now this is just theories, but they came back with mostly eel DNA. So what's to say somebody ain't seeing just some unknown eel
Right?
that hasn't been discovered yet in Loch Ness?
Because
Because
aquatic
people,
life will grow dependent on the size of the area that they're in.
but that's
Right,
not
like a
the answer.
snake.
The answer is people love telling fucking tales. I've seen this creature that day. Like, I've seen a ghost. No, you haven't. I got into an argument with a medium today about, like, he goes, people are selling, I could see this in your future. Tom and I have experienced many mediums throughout our days, and everyone's been horse shit. And he got mad that I called him out. It's like the same thing with these monsters. The Jersey Devil, who is not a lake monster, it's all tales. It's all tales to tell you, hey, come visit our area. Do I want to believe in Loch Ness? You goddamn right. Do I want to believe in the Jersey Devil? You goddamn right. Do I believe it
Well,
anymore? There is too much technology in the world to disprove all this shit.
while I don't put stock in cryptids, like I said, I want to believe in them and stuff. But apparently, somewhere not far from here, somewhere I actually did a video at, but I didn't emphasize on it in the video at all. There is supposed to be a foot mark of the Jersey Devil in one of the rocks on the bank of the Delaware River, on this
Yeah.
side of the Delaware River, not the Jersey side. I didn't go to it and look,
He
but I've
didn't like
seen
Jersey
pictures of
either, did he?
it. I don't like Jersey. To be honest, I mean Atlantic City's cool when you got money.
But these tails, look at that. That's nothing but a big ass fish.
That's a
I could show
giant.
you.
That's a
I could,
giant
That is an
sturgeon.
extremely large lake sturgeon.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
this is
could turn my computer around right now. I bought a Placo this big. He's now about as long as my computer. That's what it happens. He's a big ass fish,
They
not a
they only grow
monster.
as large as their environment. Like they won't. Like if you put them in a huge ass tank, they will get huge.
yeah, but
That's your lake
that's
sturgeon.
probably a very old one too, if you think
Mhm.
Yep.
about it, because they can live for hundreds of
This
years.
guy right here is probably 100, 120 years old, easy.
Yeah, lives forever. Doesn't get bothered by the world. Just chills. He's
See that
probably
he's
100.
Yeah,
almost as
Right.
because
old as Joe.
Basically,
he
the
stays
apex
on the bottom of the
predator in the
fucking
water.
of the water. He is literally a lake sturgeon's a bottom feeder. They're similar to a Plecostomus. They will lay on the bottom of the fucking rivers, lakes, whatever, and that's where they feed. That's
Yeah,
where they live. That's where they grow.
and they don't get cancer. They don't do it. Literally, they live life, and they could probably live forever. Who knows?
Yeah, like I said, for this one to get as big as it is, guarantee you he's over 100 years old.
Well,
So he's
Yeah,
like
this
he's
All right,
almost
Joey,
as
now you
old
can
as
flip it
Joe
back.
is now. So
yeah.
I
lake
discovered
monster.
that, and I wanted to show you since we were doing the
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, God forbid that the
those.
people see fucking big ass fish in the world and call it a
Well, that's
monster.
what I
Holy
think.
fuck!
Most of those lake monster type things are misidentifications because if you're not a true diehard fisherman, you're not going to know everything that's in those lakes or in the waters. You know, you ain't going to be able to identify all those fish. So you're
I
going to say, "Oh, I can't identify it, so it's got to be a monster."
but I
All
also
right,
believe going back
we're
to
being
Nessie. Sorry, Mark. Go
no,
ahead, buddy.
we're being listened to. I guarantee it, because this is the one right after. Joe, bring it up again when I share.
Huh?
Bring it up again whenever I share,
Okay.
because this is the one that came up right after the sturgeon.
You know what? That is so cool. Here's another thing about EV Mux. You're sharing multiple screens at once, whereas StreamYard you can only share one at a time.
Do you see this some bitch? See how big that is?
Yeah, it's a giant catfish.
That is a freaking giant catfish. Look at the
I
size
wouldn't
of
want to
that thing.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see all this thing, like if you see
And
these
the
things
thing
on
is,
Google, like there's these.
I've seen catfish bigger than that. I've actually caught a
I
catfish
got
bigger.
stung by a fucking catfish. My dad thought it was fucking funny. He says, "Here, take this off the hook." Didn't tell me anything else.
I didn't know they stung.
Because I fuck with
He
aquatics so
wanted,
much,
he
Google
wanted me
brings
to
up to
learn a
me.
lesson. It's like, motherfucker.
Yeah, like Google brings up to me because I fuck with aquatics so much. They're like, oh, a new species developed, a new species here, a new species. No, it's not. It's always been here. You're now just discovering it because like we're fucking up the oceans and all that
Right?
type of shit without getting like
See,
politics. All that's
they
horse
should
shit.
say a newly discovered
Yeah,
species.
newly discovered. Like it's been here forever, way before us, way before us. Even
And
if it's a little plankton, it's
we will
always
never
been here.
know. We will never know all
And
the
the,
species that are in the
right.
oceans and stuff. It's
And the
never
whole
going
thing,
to
that's a, oh, well, I was going to say,
happen.
they look like a penis head.
It looks like Mr. Potato Head if he went on a diet.
Yeah.
Actually,
But
this one is a lot different than most of them that are in Wisconsin.
what am I looking
This
at? A
one,
big octopus snail?
this one's more like a kraken type creature.
A crackhead.
The Nakota,
Yeah, it's more of a crackhead.
the
Well, he belongs
Nakota
here in
Sioux,
Philadelphia. We
Must
who
be
can't
from
touch that.
Kensington.
the Nakota Sioux, who originally named Devil's Lake or Bad Spirit, were often dragged beneath the surface by tentacles of some giant inhabitant of the lake. According to a story once told by a local chief, there was a bad drought one summer that dried up much of the lake. One morning, the people woke to a horror of a kraken like beast flailing about to free itself from the dried up patch of land.
Hmm.
Devil's Lake was also regarded as, and I'm not even going to say what that is,
I can't even read it.
by certain occultists who would gather at its shore to conjure some Lovecraftian horrors from the deep. Now, I've heard of cults being gathering around Devil's Lake, but I have never heard of the Kraken type creature in Devil's Lake, and I've been there more
Well,
than once.
it would stand to reason if somewhere is called Devil's Lake, then there's going to be a cult gathering around it.
Yeah, that's been that way for years, though.
And
That's
that's
like,
But if all this shit's real, why doesn't it just come up? Hey, I'm the devil in the thing. Hey, I'm Nessie and shit like that. Why is it always just myths and all this type of shit like ghosts, like Amityville? Like, oh yeah, we gotta spend $1,000 maybe
well,
to get one experience. Like, life doesn't
Amityville's a
work
real
like this. You
place.
know what I mean? Like, it just
yeah,
doesn't work
well,
like this.
the thing about, I could go on and on forever, but the thing about
Me too.
Amityville Horror is
No,
the true story of what really happened there with that family and what's his name, killing off his brothers and sisters and his
The guy who
mom.
played Deadpool,
You know,
Ryan Reynolds.
that 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 part of the story should be horror enough for that house. But no, the people that bought the house afterwards had to make up this story and make it worse and exaggerate it even more, and
See,
and
you're right.
and turn it into a huge story to make movies and books and
Yeah.
everything about the house.
they
And
tore down the original house, didn't they? Like the
no,
No,
real
they did
house.
not. They just
no, they
remodeled it.
just remodeled it. So they
Oh,
took out
well, I know the
the
movie house
windows.
is the
They
movie
also
house is still
remodeled the
there.
ghost too. Like they had to like I think it was called, what's that one show when they remodeled everything? On TLC one day.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a really bad joke. I couldn't go on with the whole full thing there because I realized we might
But
get
I
canceled.
mean, I know the movie house still stands, but I could have swore that the house that it was based off of was
I
torn
think it
down.
was I for a straight guy, but I couldn't say all of it.
Stop.
The Amityville house still stands, and it's just that they remodeled the outside so that you can't really. And
Notice the two eyes that were the absolute
yeah,
windows to
the
hell.
windows are different and stuff like that, so it doesn't look the same.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was the
And I
movie
think
house or
they
the
even
original.
changed the address or something.
So now the ghosts approach you and they give you what? Rotisserie dinners and stuff. Hello
Just
guys, welcome to
hi,
Amityville. We've been
welcome to the
scared for
house.
years.
Would you like a
Yeah.
scotch?
My God, Mark, what's going on? Jesus.
What?
Figure this out. Oh,
There we go.
Oh,
Hello.
well, wasn't me that did it. It's how he's got the control.
I like Mark. You seem so happy to be here, my friend.
I've been sick all day.
You've been
And
sick?
I actually am miserable sitting here.
I
Well,
understand.
then you
Why
should.
are you sick?
We only got
I
10 minutes left, 8 minutes
I
left.
just
Why don't
been
you
I
just
just
leave
been
and
full
go
of
rest?
crap. That's all.
and
Yeah.
Dom, look at.
You shaved?
He's bare ass faced.
Yeah, I'm gonna take off, guys.
I shocked everybody
I'm feeling
yesterday.
like crap, so
Wait a
Get
minute,
better,
let me
my
see.
friend. Mark,
Oh
get better,
yeah,
brother.
you
Get
do feel
better.
like crap. I can feel it right there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Whoa,
I like this version. I tried this. This was my very first show when I did shit
whoa.
like this.
Well,
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out.
oh, there it is.
You know,
I don't think he liked me very much.
I-
No, he's just not
Oh,
feeling well.
Mark is actually not himself today at all because he is feeling like, if he's feeling like crap, man, you're gonna know it. He's like,
No, I actually like him. Yeah, I've seen him on many. I actually like him. I think he's a
Yeah, he's
pretty
always
cool
on that
dude.
retro review show that we
and
did
then
yesterday.
he's got a lot of shit that's going on besides
Me too.
that.
I hate everything and everybody in sight. But the fucking thing is, when you think about paranormal, I've decided, even this guy Bob Barnell, fuck you too, right? He just put on his thing where it's like, um, he's going through all this shit. He's like, I'm so sad about ghosts and shit. And he calls everybody out. And it's like, man, none of this shit really exists. You get a lot of people mad. You get me pissed off. You're a big supporter of our show and all this type of shit.
He's been big with BB3. I know that.
I don't think so anymore.
You know,
We acquired him from another network, I think.
Yeah, but I haven't seen no support, and all I see
You
is this
know,
horse shit where he's just getting in arguments with people. This is why I'm
there's,
like, this whole paranormal shit is just horse shit.
it's real good to be a skeptic
I said that, didn't I?
in this field. Okay, in the paranormal field, it's real good to be a skeptic, but some of these people take it too far. You
Yeah, and
know,
it's
I
fucking
mean,
annoying.
you're
I
trying
mean,
to the whole object of me doing the paranormal is we're trying to find answers to the questions that we can't, to the
well,
things we
right.
can't explain. I mean, we don't always get evidence every time we go to a location either.
Well, it's
Sometimes
all the
we're
same
just sitting
shit.
there
It,
like bored as hell and nothing's happening.
it's like these fucking psychics, like the month after March, and then the fucking guy I dealt with today, where it's like it's fucking crazy that
It
nobody
took a second.
fucking really has any fucking thought process of what they're doing, yet they're willing to take money, get their views from all these
Oh, I
fucking
don't.
channels. Nobody fucking
That's
knows
the
what
other
they're
thing.
talking about. Tom's fucking grandmother fucking sits in a rocking chair, from somebody who's fucking maybe doing their thing from London and fucking literally just
Yeah.
doesn't fucking understand what they're talking
Well,
about.
see,
Right? What Tom was it London?
there's these
That
people.
place?
See, the
She's
people that
American.
are doing it for money are
Maybe
probably,
a last
you
name?
know, are the
Yeah.
ones I'm skeptical. Really
Told you I was coming
skeptical.
in hot.
If they're doing this for money, that's where I get, asking questions. You
Right.
know, people that are like charging a fortune for for
Or
the
getting a booth and
for the
everybody can see you.
Paracon, or charging way too much for the paranormal investigations of a location, I won't feed into that because, you know, they're making money off of it. I
Yeah, of
mean,
course they are.
if you're going to a location and they say, okay, we want you to pay this much, you know that that amount of money is just for them to be able to pay to maintain the building,
I would
Right.
actually pay money for them to actually we pay them money to tell
or
us what's going to happen. I
preserve
want
the
I want them
history.
to pay me money to show them they are real. None of this has ever happened. Nobody has been called out like that. I'm thinking about doing it. All these ghost hunters and shit. Like I've been doing it over and over again on pages and shit. Like I don't believe in ghosts anymore. I keep telling you over and over again, I don't believe in ghosts anymore. Yet I have real evidence of a ghost. But I'm calling you out because you don't. Not you, Joe. But they don't have it. They want to have boots. Look at my
Well,
table. There's
that's
this
one of the things.
cocksucker that shows up at this bash in Pennsylvania every year who
Uh,
literally fucking has haunted dolls in one little goddamn lantern. The little fucking stupid ass, shit he has, and he brings a fucking crowd for it. I literally have a whole entire arsenal of fucking haunted shit that I don't boast. Yet this fucking idiot is getting famous for it with no evidence to prove.
Yeah, some people are like that.
think
I've had a couple of bad experiences with a few people. You know, um, I understand when people charge as long as they're trying to preserve the history of the buildings, or being able to maintain the buildings, because most of the people that are there are usually volunteer. So there's no reason, and if you have to charge, and those paranormal investigators that say, "Oh, you know, uh, you want to come to my house? I think it's haunted." Well, it's going to cost you $100. Yeah,
I
well,
go into a fight with a really hot chick.
those motherfuckers are just, I think those are just scam artists, because
Of
you should
course, and you're talking about New Jersey, anything New
you
Jersey
shouldn't.
paranormal.
Well, if you're a paranormal investigator, you shouldn't charge to investigate anything. Okay. If you're going to go and you just want to help somebody get answers, that should be, satisfaction
Yeah.
enough.
But yet we were told we can't go to a house because they've already investigated it first. With some of these, New Jersey ghost teams, and we lost actually guests and actually hosts from this shit because they were so mad at people because oh my god, they wouldn't investigate my house, but we can't show up because they need to be paid first. You
No,
well,
motherfucking
this
idiots.
this goes back to something that Joe that we talked about some time ago, where like you and Nick had said that you guys hadn't really found this to be true, but being as that BB3 did have predominantly over its life, predominantly just paranormal shows and everything. We did go to the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and it was very much
What event was that? You just called what out?
yeah.
And
I
I
I
did
don't
everything
care.
I could not to say.
I no, I don't care because it's not the bash that I'm bashing
And
itself.
it wasn't
It's the
nothing about the
people. It
bash.
was the people in
Well,
attendance, and
you know,
I'm not even talking about when they were doing the convention part. The
I
Oh
hate
convention
yeah.
to
part.
cut you off, but we got a show after this, so we got
Okay.
to end it.
All right.
We
So
gotta end what?
end the show.
What?
Yeah,
What is it
because
getting heated?
No,
no, there's a time restraint
there's a
on
time thing on Things Network.
Things
So,
Network.
Fuck all you paranormal people. How about that? From
so
Dom.
stay safe. Have a great weekend, and remember, anything's possible.
No, it's
Catch you
not.
next week.